Good afternoon and greetings everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Reza Adi Chandra from the Faculty of Literature and Science Education, majoring in English Education, batch 20, NPM 2011-2026. And today I will present about how to identify various factors of low motivation in high school students. Motivation is an inner condition that has the power or action to move, encourage the individual to do something for achieving goals. There is motivation stimulate for a purpose. There are two types of motivation, namely motivation intrinsic and extrinsic. Motivation intrinsic is motivation that arises from within the student, while the extrinsic motivation is motivation that arises because of encouragement from the outside of the student. Motivation grows from within the student, either it appears naturally at the student wish or even because encouragement from the outside of the individual. From the most learning environment, the role of providing motivation to learn is the teacher. Motivation and learning are two things that are interrelated and have strong influence on one another. Learning motivation arises because of another factor, namely in the form of desire, success, and the encouragement of learning needs. The intrinsic factor of recognition of the comfortable and interesting learning environment. Learning motivation is essentially internal and external encouragement to a student with support indicators. This kind of encouragement has a big role for a person's success in the learning. The existence of students who have problems in learning makes the teachers required to be sensitive to the problems experienced by the student. In addition, the teacher must also know the cause of the emergency of these learning problems. Teachers who are always aware of the cause of the student experiencing problem is learning. Teachers tend to treat students the same without paying attention of the special needs of the student. Even though each individual needs different treatment, so that the action taken should also be different according to the needs of the student. In this video, I will help the viewer to able to identify the low motivation that occurs in student and adolescent. It's undeniable that adolescence is a period where are still looking for identity. Sometimes this influence will make motivation to learn to low. Low learning motivation is one of the causes of person's lack of success in education. Someone who does not have motivation will have difficulty understanding material. Without motivation, we will not get to good learning process and can cause loss of direction in life. So learning motivation is something that strengthens us to improve character and behavior better. There are several factors that cause lack of motivation to learn, including the first is ourselves. Doesn't have clear goals. Without ideals, there is no dream to be realized. Goals are targets to achieve and direction to be pursued. And the next is not confident and easily discouraged. People who they are not smart, do not master a job or fail in a field usually tend to give up easily. And the next is feelings of inferiority will grow and make them more lazy to study. However, failure is a normal thing in life. If there is success, then there must be a failure. But it is this failure that helps us to be more mature in obtaining success. If we don't understand something about the problem, we can have a discussion with friends, teachers, or parents. The key is that we must always enthusiastic and have unyielding spirit. The second is environment. Wrong association. Who we hang out with determines what we become. If we hang out with people who prefer to spend time playing games, having fun, and so on, we will able to carry away. And the next is having friends who are smart or study hard. Is indeed a good thing because it can help us become more enthusiastic about learning. However, there are some people who actually take advantage of smart friends for bad, such as cheating on their work. This is bad behavior because it will make us lazy to study. The third is role of teacher. Teachers have an important role for the student. Teachers in school not only as function as teacher but also as motivation for the student. The teacher's role in motivating students is very important, especially for students who have weak motivation and students with a problem. The fourth is family. Parent expectation too high or low. Every parent has expectation for their children. If the expectation parents are too high, it will be a heavy burden for their children. Eventually, the child will feel burdened with the target from his parents. Are also parents who set too low expectation for their children and are just busy working. They only think that they have completed their obligation to send their children to school. The purpose learning is to achieve success with optimal achievement. To achieve optimal learning outcomes, teacher creativity is required in generating student learning motivation. There are several things that must be considered to teachers to generate the student learning motivation, as stated by Reza Adi Chandra. Namely, A. Clarify the goals to be achieved. Clear goals foster students interested in learning. Are clearer the goals to be achieved, the stronger the student motivation to learn. Therefore, the next teacher needs to explain in advance the goals to be achieved before the learning process begins. B. Generating student interest. Students will be encouraged to learn when they have interest in learning. Some of the ways that can be done to foster student interest include 1. Connect the subject matter to be taught with the needs of students. 2. Adjust the subject matter to the level of experience and ability of students. 3. Use variety of learning models and strategies. 4. Creating pleasant atmosphere in learning. 5. Give reasonable praise for each other's success. 6. Give an assessment of student work. 7. Comment on student work. 8. Create the cooperation. First effort need to be made by the teachers that the learning process is successful. Learning must be creative and innovative in carrying out learning tasks. Here are some possible solutions that can be used to increase student learning motivation as follows. 1. Use praise. 2nd is awaken his curiosity and desire to explore. 3rd is stimulate student desire to learn. 4th is work in cooperation. 5. Apply concept and principles in unique and extraordinary context so that students are more involved. And 6. Ask students to use what they have to learn. The 7 is minimize the attraction of opposing motivational system. And the 8, minimize the unpleasant consequence of the student involvement. 9. Teachers need to understand monitor the social atmosphere in the school environment. 10. Teachers need to understand the power relationship between educators and students. A number of ways to increase student learning motivation can be done during learning. Teachers must really understand student determination. Motivated student can be done correctly. Alright everyone, there is presentation about identifying four aspects of motivation in high school. I hope this little explanation can be useful for all of you.